Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee to order. And the first item on our agenda is to approve our January minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Stanley. Any corrections or additions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. Mr. Beatty, our county trustee, will give the investment report. Good evening, Mr. Beatty.
Good evening, thank you. Well, the LGIP has stayed consistent. It hasn't gone down any. But we did have a bid this last month, and so we got 0.89, 89 basis points for a year, so that's an LGIP. But as you can tell, we just don't have near as many bidders as we one time did. That's a better rate, but not a lot of depth. We've got another bid next week, and hopefully it will do well.
The motion for the report then.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Pigg. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries.
The only other thing is, at the end of the month, February 29th is the deadline to pay 2011 taxes without penalty. So that will be, I believe, on a Wednesday. And just a reminder that it's coming up.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Beatty. Gentlemen, if you will locate your fund condition report, Mrs. Nolan, our finance director, will begin with the development tax report.
For January, we received $96,250, bringing our total to $508,500. Annualized, that would put us at $871,000, where our estimate was $1 million.
Let's move, please, to cash balances.
At the end of January, our total cash balance was $168,099,674, with $152,755,000 being operating funds and $15,344,000 being borrowed funds.
Are we ready to move to the revenue sheet?
Revenues, here's what our budget is. It looks strong at 57.53% collected on our general fund. That's pretty much comparable, if not higher, than the other years presented. I think you'll find that all the way through. Somebody asked me, is there a glimmer of hope? And so on the front sheet, on the general fund, we see the arrow. That second line, total license and permits, 515,146. That's includes building permits and the animal registrations too. But just in that whole group, we are a little ahead of where we were in 09-10. So there's my glimmer. Now, building permits were up 20% compared to last year. So.
Starting to move a little bit.
Starting to move.
Maybe the sunshine will make everybody else.
I didn't see any smiley faces, so.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
There's two on the back. Two smiley faces.
None with frowns.
No frowny
No
face.
frowns.
Oh, there's three on the back. I'm sorry. There's one up there too.
Motion to approve the report, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley.
second.
Seconded by Commissioner Pigg. Any further discussion or questions for Mrs. Nolan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. Our insurance director, Mrs. Stinson, will join us. And if you will locate her report, she will begin with the financials.
Okay, we'll start with Fund 264.
month of January, our per employee per month is $928.63, compared to prior year of $857.78. If you look at the report, you can see that our self-funded claims from December to January actually grew $1 million. We had 4 claims that equated to almost $500,000 in spend just in the month of January, so that's part of that increase that you see. If we look at what our on-site medical did in the month of January, you'll see that our total PEPM rises to $965.26 compared to prior year, same time of $889.34. Our trend is still 17% over prior year, so we're still seeing some very active claims in our population.
You said there were 4 claims that were $500,000?
The total payout on those 4 alone were almost $500,000.
No smiley faces there.
Were those accidents or?
No, they're all
Okay.
medical
No.
condition based, yeah.
No. No, well, that's just, the preventative stuff that we've looked at in the last few years, 3 or 4 years, that we've put in things with the dietitian and these type things, and we have the health and wellness lady and that. Okay, can they be attributed to what we've done? It didn't make any difference, or are these some types of disease or something that the
Well-
person's susceptible they're gonna get, or?
Yeah, we have a high prevalence of cancer. We have a high prevalence of musculoskeletal disease, which would be expected when you consider the nature of our population.
That asbestos is the main thing that does that?
No, so those would be knee, back,
Oh,
those type of
okay.
things. Some of it's just the nature of our business that we're in. We are looking at some of the preventative. I think I shared that with you all. There's not been any formal tracking. The wellness coordinator became full-time in July 2010, and we had piggybacked off of some programs. We are, through our relationship with the clinics, in the process of starting to look for a candidate for our health educator position. I think that will give us additional resources that we need so that we can better allocate our wellness budget towards more screening and preventative services, such as the mammograms and some of the things where we see our population lacking. You know, one of the good things about in the county is we do have somewhat of a low turnover rate, so that means people age in place, and the older people get it, the higher the costs are. So that's part of what we see inside of our population as well.
The HRAs that are given, you're allowed to get one once a year or something if you work there. What is the percentage of county employees that get that? I'm talking board education and
Right.
county. There's roughly 5,000 or so, and about.
So last year we did
Roughly,
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
about 1,700 last year.
so you're talking roughly a third get it, and 2/3.
It's really less than that, because when you look, you're considering that only on the employees, but of the people eligible to use our clinics, we have 13,000 people.
Oh,
So it's a
because
very,
it's
very
the-
small percentage. Now, what percentage that 13,000 is, over the age of 18, and we do see a significant decline below the age of 18 in the number, even though we do have some children that get it. But there's definitely a lack of focus in some of the preventive services, and that is visible in the review of our claims.
And all this is a vial of blood is taken, and they can find out everything about you as a person inside you from that blood, right?
That is correct. So with the prior carrier, what we did with the health risk assessments is we would take the vial blood and we would mail you this beautiful packet, the clinics would, at home, that had all your lab values. What we found was people were not returning back to the clinic for that physician review, discussion, talk about areas. Now, we have no way to track whether or not they took that to a different physician and reviewed that with them. So one of the things that we have changed within the clinics is you give the blood, you come back, you sit down with a clinician who goes over what your risk points are and talks about what plan of treatment that you need depending on what the risk factors are. So getting those people better engaged is what we're attempting to
It
do.
just seems, I'm sorry, but it just seems to me that that's something that everybody is eligible for it ought to get it for 20 minutes of your time or something. And the price is a lot better than going to a MD too.
Correct. Any other questions on this report? Okay, so if we'll go to Fund 266. Year-to-date, we're at $459,792, representing 82% of prior year's spend rate. We were at 19 workers' comp claims. We've had one reopen, so we're back up to 20 workers' comp claims currently. But all in all, the program is going very well. Any questions on that report?
Do we need a motion to
For
approve the
financial,
report?
please. Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
So,
Seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Mrs. Stinson now will present a recommendation from the Insurance Committee to adjust chiropractic benefits to our package.
I provided you a signature sheet here. I did discuss this with the Insurance Committee. I didn't give them a handout of any kind. Everybody was looking for paper, so I thought I'd bring you something tonight. In option 1 and option 2, we have a $150 deductible. We limit the visits to 26 under chiropractic care, and we limit the amount paid at $17.50. The problem is we haven't adjusted that $17.50 in at least 10 years that I was able to determine. So the recommendation was for option 1 and option 2 to leave the $150 deductible in place, to leave the 26 visits in place, but to remove the $17.50 and have it paid just as any other service with an 80% pay for in-network, with the 80/20, and then to pay the out-of-network at our current other benefits as well.
What'd they say?
They voted unanimously to approve it. Yeah.
Kinda thought they did.
Yeah.
How would that effectively change the rate people would pay? It would be $7.15 anymore.
Right, so that's what this bottom is, because that's one of the questions. I had estimated around $6. It actually comes in that the plan would pay an additional $5, and then they would pay the excess of it. And honestly, I don't know what the rate is because it will depend on their contract, but it would be a $5 improvement per visit for the employees.
Roughly how many people use chiropractors?
We had, if you look at the second column here.
Boy, we're just
I'll tell
coming
you,
right
I'm glad I
into
put
you,
this
aren't we,
together.
tonight?
It's okay, as long as I'm prepared, I don't mind the question. So we had 6,879 for this period of 10/1/2010 to 9/30/2011.
You probably had more than that, just from my experience, because I know some of the chiropractors have dropped the county's insurance because of the coverage there.
Yes, some have decided, what he's referencing is in May of 2011, Cigna contracted with a company called ASH. One of the reasons that the county would have put together, and not just the county, but many employees put together these type of limitations on chiropractic benefits, is because the process for medical necessity has always been a little bit different for chiropractors than it has for other physicians and services offered. They contracted with a company called ASH to actually close that gap and start determining medical necessity, which is put more paperwork back on the chiropractors, and they've not been happy about it. And so some have made the business decision to no longer participate in the network.
Make a motion that we approve it.
Commissioner Sandlin, thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ealy?
Yes. Mrs. Stinson also has a recommendation from the Insurance Committee to renew with Cigna as our third-party administrator for the employee medical, dental, and visual insurance.
So we put our bid out for all of the lines of business that Commissioner Ely just referenced, and what we found is that Cigna brought the strongest proposal to Rutherford County. You'll see that first year differences is 42% below current cost. Majority of that is in the rebates. We were able to request different types of administrative options on the pharmacy side, which revealed an opportunity for us to collect more of the rebates that Cigna receives from the manufacturers. So that's where the substantial piece is. You'll see that we moved from $145,000 in annual rebate to $755,000 in annual rebate. They've also lowered their ASO administration costs. We did look at the medical discounts, and it appears from looking at this that Blue Cross Blue Shield would have had a stronger discount. But when I reached out to City of Murfreesboro and Town of Smyrna, who recently moved their business to Cigna, what their repricing showed is that the discount that was guaranteed in their bid was 54% or below by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And that was consistent with what Cowan Benefits was seeing in their book of business as well. So there was, some concern about whether or not we would actually ever achieve that 57%. So I presented this to the insurance committee, and one of the other factors that was a variable is the stop loss quote in Cigna is firm, whereas stop loss quote in Blue Cross Blue Shield is not. So this 22% savings could actually be affected if they increased their stop loss rate, and they were requiring claims experience through April. The insurance committee voted unanimous to award the contract to Cigna with an effective date of 7/1/2012.
Just looking at these numbers, I think y'all made the right decision. But
I was very pleased with Cigna's bid.
There wasn't much of a choice to make. I mean, it was pretty hard. The insurance committee.
Mayor Burgess, I think you have complimented Mrs. Stinson at least at 2 different meetings.
Well, Ms. Stinson is being very modest, and you can see a major reduction in this is predominantly because she was able to drill down and get the people to understand that the way she had structured the RFP, that we would understand those rebates with respect to pharmacy. And so she's been able to get major improvement in the rebates on the annual cost of those pharmacies. So she's been very modest, and she's done a great job with this. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Petty. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Good job.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Thank you.
Ms. Denson, we do expect savings like this every month.
I'll see what I can do about that.
Sooner or later, they'll be paying us, right?
That's right.
600,000 a month, add up, real money, a few more months.
Gentlemen, if you will turn to section 9 in your notebooks, we will now have a recommendation to provide funding for an expansion of Montlow State Community College. And Ms. Jan Rogers is joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to address your budget committee meeting. Dr. Apple sends her regrets that she could not be at this meeting. And I'll apologize to Commissioner Jordan and Mayor Burgess. You've had to hear this before, but just to summarize for you, we've put together the sheet showing that what we're trying to do is add a second building to our Smyrna campus, a 35,000 square foot building. When the state brought this up to the top of their stack, so to speak, they had estimated that our cost would be $9,400,000. Once our project got into the hands of an architect, they looked at it and said, we can't give you 35,000 square feet for $9,400,000. You'll have to cut your building back to 22,000 square feet. Which Dr. Apple knew that if we agreed to build a smaller building now, we'd never get the larger square footage. So she stuck to her guns and got them to approve letting us move forward with a 35,000 square foot building, and we're just not going to finish the entirety of it on the interior right now. So as you can see, the additional cost that the architect estimated was $1 million. It brought us up to 10.4. The state funded $7,613,000 of that, and Smyrna kicked in the land valued at $1.7 million. We were to raise 15% of the needed amount ourselves at Motlow, and we have actually managed to raise 17% of that. Our shortage right now is $397,350, and that is just to shell in the 35,000 square foot building. Excuse me. One of the major reasons that we need this building is it's so that our nursing students can actually get their full RN degree here in Smyrna. Now they're having to travel to either McMinnville or the Moore County campus to do some of their labs and classes that they would be able to get here if we can get this building. We are now serving about 2,000 students on our Smyrna campus. We're having classes 7 days a week. We feel like our population will probably double as soon as we get this building built, just because of the number of students we're having to turn away now. We have about 2,000 here, which is about the same number that we're serving on our entire campus in Moore County. We're having classes 7 days a week here. So what we're asking is that the Rutherford County Commission fund half of our shortage, or $200,000, and then we're going to move forward and ask the city of Murfreesboro to fund the other $2,000 if they're willing to do so. Any questions I can answer for you, I'd be glad to try.
The city has given favorable tendencies like that.
Yes.
They're looking positively toward this, correct?
They have.
Yeah.
They have.
You said Smyrna City or Murfreesboro?
Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro City.
Smyrna gave it 1.7.
Smyrna
Right,
gave us the
right, gave you
land,
the
yes,
land,
and the
right.
Rutherford County Industrial Board's given us $157,000.
I've got a question or two. One of
Okay.
these questions may be directed to Ms. Nolan or the mayor. The proposal to provide $100,000 in support now and $100,000 in support next year would come from the development tax fund. We've got about $1.5 million in that fund as of right now, once we pay for commitments that we've already made. Maybe this question is directed at the mayor. We're a big portion of the way through our fiscal year. What other capital projects do you foresee that we might want to spend out of the development tax fund? The $1.5 million, the figure that I just gave, accounts for the jail brick remediation, the kitchen expansion, the dispatch center. That's already subtracted from that, so I was just wondering what else.
We don't have any big projects that we're thinking about. I'm sure there'll be some smaller things. Technology-wise, we put a number of things on hold, but I'm not projecting that we're going to do anything in a major way. I don't know of anything that we're going to come to you and ask for this time, and maybe probably even in the budget year, of any real consequence.
My kind of a related question is, how is the brick remediation going? And I just asked because I feel like I've heard a rumor or two that it's going to be more expensive than we thought.
Well, we've already addressed that.
It's included. It's included.
You had to appropriate money. We've already included that additional money for that project, so it's okay. And I think we probably appropriated a little more money than we'll actually spend, but we've already addressed the need to increase that initial amount that we had in place for that contract.
One thing that was brought up in Health and Ed, I believe the number of the students at the Smyrna campus are like 85, 87%, or some.
87% of those students have
a Rutherford County address. You know,
They do.
these are our kids. You know, and a college. I said this in Health and Ed. A high school education isn't what it used to be. You know, kids need further education, more technology, and everything else. MTSU is turning kids away every day because academic standards are getting higher and higher and higher, and there's a whole lot of kids falling through the cracks.
Sure.
Just don't have anything to do, any place to go. And Milo's, these are the same kids. We're taking care of them in 12th grade. Let's help out a little bit and get them over the hump where they can get out and get a good, meaningful job and stuff. And I support this 100%.
Thank you.
I think
And what we do for MTSU, we will take students with a lower ACT score to start school than they will, and we can give them well-qualified juniors to move on through their second 2 years at MTSU, which is important to them also, especially now since funding to colleges is based on graduation rates and not enrollment. So we're their largest feeder school.
The next question I have has to do with the target amount of money you need. You suggested it was
$397 is what we're short, yes.
If the county provides $200,000 and the city of Murfreesboro provides $200,000, then you'll be a little bit above the goal, not enough to worry too
Right.
much about it.
We're
but-
just rounding, yeah.
But what if over the course of the next year, between now and the second installment of $100,000 by the county, you raise more money? What if you end up with more money for this building than is required to build it? Since the gap, if
Sure.
Murfreesboro provides $200,000, you'll actually already be a little bit over the
Right.
$397,000.
The rest of that money would go toward finishing the rest of our square footage. This number will only get us 35,000 square feet shelled in and complete 81% of the interior. So we will actually still have another 800,000 to fundraise to finish the rest of the building at some point in time. So there really won't be any extra. We'll put it to good use.
Okay, I thought I'd ask. I agree with Commissioner Jordan. I think this is a good idea. I'm going to bring up a related issue that maybe now's the time to at least broach the subject. MTSU has been awarded funding from the state to build a new science building. Just like you, they need to come up with a match. Their match is larger. It's $18 million, but nevertheless, they need to come up with a match. The situation seems somewhat comparable in that supporting these capital projects helps the county. They attract students to the region, and students will be spending money in our local economy. If the students stay here, or if Rutherford County students stay here from MTSU or from Motlow, they getting their education represent a more educated, more skilled labor force. That makes them more employable. Their resulting incomes can be higher. It'll also attract employers to the region because they'll know we have a higher skilled labor force from which they can hire. What I'd like to ask is for the mayor and maybe the county in general is to consider assisting MTSU as well. I know their project is much bigger, but the fact book for MTSU says around 3,700 first-time freshmen at MTSU in fall of 2011 were from Rutherford County. I think the total number of students at MTSU who are from Rutherford County, not just limiting that number to freshmen, but total is over 7,000. The situations appear comparable to me. I think supporting these kind of capital projects are good ideas for the reasons I just gave. I guess what I'd like to do is formally ask the mayor to consider helping MTSU in a similar regard, particularly since we've got $1.4, $1.5 million in our development tax fund.
I'd already been thinking about this, so I mean, I knew this was probably going to come, and we will take that under serious consideration. And as soon as Dr. McPhee and his staff sort of put together their plan on how they're going to approach this, maybe they can tell us about how much they think we should be, they'd like to ask us for. But I think we should seriously look at that, and I certainly will help with that discussion.
I made a comment during Health and Ed, and it fell on deaf ears. Nobody else agreed, but just thinking out loud here, I asked about making our commitment contingent upon the city of Murfreesboro matching it, to kind of light a fire under them, to make sure they do their part. I'll leave this to the committee. 6 other members on the Health and Ed committee did not agree with me that was a good idea. but I don't know. I seem to that I still think that's something worth discussion anyway.
Well, I'm behind Motlow. I traveled to Motlow from Lincoln County for a year, and that's not a long way, but it's a beautiful campus over there too. So I love what you're doing here in Rutherford County. It's great. And the reason I'm here in Murfreesboro, because I went to MTSU, after that, and ended up staying. But I don't think we can tie the Murfreesboro hands. I think the county's got to do what it's got to do, and hopefully we're going to see it as 21 doing this and helping them out. I want them to, but I don't think we can tie their hands according to that. Do we still not want to fund this if the city of Murfreesboro don't? I do, because they may not see the benefits or think the benefits are as well to their point of view as it is to ours. So
I was hoping to encourage.
yeah,
Okay.
I think our leadership will really encourage that.
yeah. And I think they will, from what I'm hearing, that they probably will. But you know, y'all still got a lot of money to raise. And like I said, we try to do schools and stuff in a turnkey situation. This isn't turnkey here.
Right.
So you still got all your fixtures and everything. And this is
Correct.
strictly nursing, is that right?
No, it is not strictly.
It's not strictly nursing.
Not
Okay.
strictly nursing. It will be classrooms and labs primarily, but it will enable us to get an RN degree here on this campus.
You may tell them what you're doing in concert with Bridgestone and some of the,
with
with
our,
respect to some of this mega technology business. I mean, this is,
We have a mechatronics program, which is a Siemens certification that we right now are running out of our McMinnville campus. And Bridgestone and Laverne and Liggett Platt, and there may be one other, they have asked us to come into an area. Bridgestone has actually refurbished, they spent $4 million refurbishing an area in Laverne on their campus for us to bring our mechatronics program down here to train workers, and they are going to let other industries use the facility and the equipment to learn the mechatronics program. And this is a Siemens certificate that they can earn after earning 16 hours of credit. I lost my train of thought.
so, well, again, it's just,
We've gotten a $3.3 million grant from the Department of Labor to help with the workers who have lost their jobs. That's what this grant is for, is to bring them into the mechatronics program and train them. So we'll be using it for that, as well as training Bridgestone. Bridgestone and Nissan both want to run their workers through the mechatronics program and have even talked about the possibility of us taking over their training through our mechatronics program.
Wow.
I heard you say that Bridgestone had offered money in a grant in a place. What about Nissan? Are they?
Bridgestone has offered the facility.
Right.
They're refurbishing the facility. Don't know what Nissan's going to bring to the table.
Well, I guess I gotta ask why. Well, first off, the development tax, we just hear, we didn't make it last year, I don't believe, with what our estimate was. This year, we're running, we're not gonna make $1 million, which 500,000 goes into this. My question is, this is February. Why does this come to us in February instead of, say, June, when we know more where we are, not only with this tax, but also where we are in the county for next year?
well, $100,000 in the scheme of where we are.
Yeah, but I know,
with
but
this
I hear
budget.
$100,000 so often,
I
and
understand.
you know.
They, really, they sort of want the 200,000 even now, but neither one of us, the city of Murfreesboro or us, want to do it. We want to do it in 2 years. We want to spread it out a little bit. So even though, yes, we're not going to collect quite $1 million, I mean, we still have a bit of money there. I think the return on this investment will be huge over time. I mean, when companies come to consider us for relocation and expansion, the ability to have a trained workforce is just critical. I mean, it's one of the first things they're looking at.
Another point we haven't made is we talk about job growth, but another part of that is people want higher paying jobs. And these jobs that come with these higher level degrees are the higher paying jobs.
We could look at it too, that brings more people, which.
Well, right now,
Yeah.
we've got about 10,000 people in this county that are underemployed or unemployed, and they need some additional opportunities as well.
And the mechatronics, the grant is to serve the underemployed also, as well as those who've lost their jobs. So hopefully we can help with that some.
I was surprised through some of the graduations that I went to this last year that high school students are already, you know, under y'all's umbrella or MTSU's as far as their, you know, getting, some students had 16 hours already or more, I guess.
Through the dual enrollment program.
Yes. And
We
I was,
actually have high school students graduating with their associate's degree simultaneously with their high school degree.
That's
through that dual
awesome.
enrollment.
Madam Chairman, I'm gonna make a motion that we go by the plan, and we're gonna fund 200,000, 100,000 this year, and 100,000 next year. And I so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sandlin, seconded by Commissioner P. And yes, we did have a motion from the Health and Ed Committee unanimously supporting this project, and they did suggest splitting the funding $100,000 in this fiscal year and $100,000 in the next fiscal year. And from the Finance Office and from the Mayor, it seems that we are comfortable with using the development tax. Any further discussion?
Only thing I'd like to say is, you know, I think it's a wonderful thing that we're able to offer this here in our county. And, you know, we do a lot of things for a lot of people, but being able to help educate our children and your children's future and ensuring them a good education, we can't do more than that. If we can do that for everybody, I mean, anybody that disagrees with this, please go out and see Sheriff Arnold, let him give you a tour of the jail, and you'll find out that probably 90% of those people in there don't have a GED or any kind of education. So we can pay for programs like this, or we can pay for them in jail.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan? Yes. Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, turn to section 3 in your notebooks, please, and we will do our general fund budget amendments. Mrs. Snyder, from the drug court.
Oh, yeah. No, and still.
And I've come to ask for $100,000 as well. Since you're in such a giving mood tonight.
Go home.
Ms. Snyder, you have
A budget amendment.
an employee who left employment, and we need to take care of that.
It's, I didn't have overtime in my line item, and this is to correct that.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Sandlin, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Discussion?
How are you? Good.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
From juvenile detention, Ms. Stu,
Should stay for just for that.
good evening. Good evening. Do you have the corrected numbers? Isn't that Bill? You're
It was only like 71.
I
Felt
can
like
feel
100.
It's feeling better
It
already.
popped off, didn't it?
I thought it felt great.
You already read anyway, so I mean, we're getting that way.
Okay.
Okay. I can let me just kind of explain what happened. Initially, with the new facilities open, there is a maintenance agreement for the locks, and cameras,
Door
and things.
control system.
Thank you. And it runs around $10,000, not $10,000. So we had started off putting the whole, both maintenance agreements for juvenile and workhouse in the workhouse budget. And the year prior, one of the bills didn't get paid. It got paid this year. So on the workhouse side, they paid last year and this year's, and we're lacking lens for this year. So this amendment, $5,550, is for her part of the maintenance agreement. Now, within all of this, because it handles door locks, there's like a OIT component, and there's a maintenance component to it. We had to call them. This is not in the amendment. This is something I'm asking to add to this. It was a bill for, still with the same group of people, to help repair some monitors and video multiplex and some other monitor repairs. That's $1,740. That's not in anybody's budget. So my request from combination between the maintenance agreement, $5,550 plus $1,740 to be increased in her maintenance and repair of equipment line item, for a total coming out of unassigned fund balance of $7,290.
Wouldn't that be a wash with the, and not have to do this unassigned on the 5,500 because of last?
Well, it
What if
ended
he-
up, because it didn't get paid last
It
year,
didn't
it
get
ended
paid.
up in fund balance.
Looks like the vendor would have notified us that they didn't get paid.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now.
Last year we
That
should have paid it.
rotated
We
back
didn't.
into fund balance, so what she got budgeted this year, she's 5,500 short.
So
Right.
once
Gotcha.
we catch this up, current budget will work to roll on next year. We got 1 year's worth of
Right.
this.
Then we're- then
We just
we're-
missed a year.
We missed
Yeah,
it.
we didn't pay any money last year, so
Yeah.
we're having to pay it in after the
But
fact.
we don't have any money in her budget
Covered.
now. It's gotta
Right.
come the next year. I mean, it's gotta be put in
For next
in the
year,
future
will be.
year, right?
That's correct.
And we'll, right now, it's the, both pieces are in the workhouse budget. We'll probably split that. So it's
What was it number you said, 7,000?
$7,290.
Make a motion approved.
Second motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan, seconded by Commissioner Stanley.
The $1,740 on the monitor, and what was the other software? and-
Cameras,
She may know better than we do.
Well, I can read to you what it says.
It's not clear there.
It's not clear, the.
Well, that doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
What matters to me, and it wasn't clear on this, is that for both juvenile and for the workhouse,
No,
or is
that's
that
just
just hers? So,
That's just
so
Well,
we
that's-
keep, we've
Well,
got those.
the 1740 is for the building that I'm in, but in that building, there are 5 different departments, and this building has worked on items for the majority of those departments. So the bill has come to my attention, but it may be some of Judge Davenport's work, it may be some of the security officer's work, and
we just thought it'd be easier to put it in her budget. I mean,
Okay.
to put
Well,
it
I
out
just
of
don't wanna
hers.
come up, I understand about this 5550,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from public safety. I just didn't want to end up in the same boat again. That's why I was wondering where, you know, where this is actually
It's,
going
um,
to.
It's the same company, but it's 2 separate issues.
This isn't an issue where if the maintenance agreement had been paid, they would have fixed that for
No.
free?
No, I already
Okay,
checked that too.
okay.
So what you're saying is there's a maintenance repair budget for the work center and / or I guess also for the juvenile detention building.
In their maintenance agreement, yeah.
No, no maintenance agreement. There's gotta be some maintenance repair for those
Well, see,
buildings, even though they're new,
That
right?
maintenance agreement is for the basic fundamental system, which is hardware and software. These $1,740 are other miscellaneous things that's not included
Yeah.
in that.
But my point, in their budget's gotta have something for
They didn't have
maintenance.
hardly any.
Yeah, he's getting,
Nothing.
yeah, there ought to be some for
But they're
repairs in
getting
somewhere.
better.
I mean, it's gonna happen.
There's a
Fix that
little
this-
bit. I mean,
this
she's-
year.
Yeah,
He can ask for more.
yeah.
Maybe
I
the other
looked at it.
departments
You may-
that's actually are benefiting from this is any maintenance repair money in their budgets, they could, 500 apiece, 3 departments, there's your money.
Oh, we could
This
find
is a
some in
repair.
here.
So
We
we're
could.
gonna put it in maintenance
Yeah.
agreement account?
No.
Are we gonna
Hopefully
put
This
it'll roll
is-
back into end
Yeah,
funding,
okay.
end balance, ending fund balance at the end of the year
From the
anyway.
other departments, maybe.
You gotta get this cleared up, then you know how it's going next.
Yeah, but we don't expect to see the budget come skyrocketing up either, right?
No, the budgets haven't skyrocketed, they won't skyrocket. There's no surplus in most of these budgets, none. That's where we are.
Gentlemen, we do have a motion and a second. Do we need further discussion relative to this motion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes?
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yeah.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes.
Commissioner Eden.
Yes. Thank you. From the Sheriff's Department and Jail, Mr. Russell. Good evening. Mr. Russell, if you will begin with your budget amendments, we will begin with the the sheet where you have it numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's
Yes,
do
ma'am.
those, and we'll take that as one vote, please.
Okay. The Department doing communications over there, since they've got a whole new facility now, and by the way, that's pretty much up and functional. Our dispatch is back up and running. They're not officially there yet, but I can't believe how fast they've gotten it done. In 2 months, it's done, or almost like 6 or 7 weeks. Anyway, so they did need 1,500 of their budget, so we're going to move that into the repair and maintenance of the building, because that department's always needing money. We also got grant money in from the SCAP grant, and so we're going to put that money into the repair and maintenance of the building as well on the jail side. The SRO division has requested to move some of their money from instructional supplies into our other supplies line item for some sound suppressors for some firearms that they have. And then the food service equipment line item, we're going to move that $10,000 from there into custodial supplies to take care of the rest of the year for the custodial budget for the jail.
But the food service equipment though, well,
We're not using it right now, so.
I know
through the
that
end of this year
10,000 is
either.
gonna have to be replaced with all this other in the whole scheme of the whole
Thi-
redo.
Yeah, this is for stuff we were going to buy this year, but since we're not going to buy it, we're just going to make better use of the money there. And I think when we do the new kitchen, it's the funds have got equipment in there already. So,
Yeah, there's a certain amount we can put already
Already in the new stuff.
projected in our budget.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Discussion?
Sound suppressors for the SROs, is that like silencers for
Yes,
the
sir.
gun?
Yes, sir.
So they can shoot in the school without disturbing anybody
That's
or
right,
something like
yes.
that?
Basically, when you're in an enclosed environment, when the round goes off, it's really loud, so that's mainly what they're getting it for.
Oh.
But also,
Hopefully
you
they're
don't
not
want to give
shooting
away
too
your
much at the school.
you don't want to give away your location either,
Yeah.
but it's mainly for the sound. So.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond?
Wow,
Yes.
that's-
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner Teague?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagley?
Yes. Okay, on the next page, gentlemen, the first budget amendment is dealing with overtime pay, and you will remember last month, we took care of the overtime pay through the month of January, and we said the sheriff and Mr. Russell would come back with a plan of how they are to deal going forward, and that is what this first amendment will reflect. So let's just do the overtime, and the next one has to do with the
That's fine.
litigation tax, so we'll separate these out.
Okay. So we're going to pull 20,000 out of the sheriff's office side of overtime pay and related benefits, and also 20,000 from the hazardous waste cleanup line item, because the state is still paying for the meth cleanup, and so it doesn't look like at this point in time we're going to need those funds. So we're going to go ahead and move all that money. We're going to take all that together and move that into detention overtime pay for a total of $36,600, and then the related benefits that go with that.
Quick question for
Yes,
you.
sir.
I had someone call me and asked, and, you know, you've got a program going on where you're collecting goods and sending it to, what is it, Mississippi, where they had
For the tornadoes.
for the tornadoes.
Yes,
and
sir.
they were-
Alabama.
Alabama. If that was being paid out of the overtime budget, and I talked to the sheriff about it, and he explained to me that was volunteers that were doing that.
Mhm.
And a group, I guess you're a
It's
scout
the
group.
Explorers group, yeah, Law
Explorers
Explorers
group.
Post, yes.
So I wanted people to know that, especially since I've got a call or two about it. So.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, that
that's
whole
not
program
costing
is,
any overtime.
That is
so-
correct, sir. Yeah, that whole program is all volunteer. It's a great program too. The students really get in that program. It's very fascinating.
That's
to watch.
great on the hazardous waste thing that you can pull that in there, but I was thinking that the state was pulling off of that and it was gonna be their local
It was
responsibility.
going to, yeah, originally
That's
it
why
was
we
going
put
to.
it in there.
And that's why we put it in there to start with, yes, sir. But then they have continued to fund that for this fiscal year
Yeah,
so
I've read
far.
Where they put some more back in it.
Yeah.
Oh, so they haven't
So,
shut that
yeah,
off.
so they haven't shut it off yet. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're obligated for some overtime pay, if you can spend it on that, get some of that
Yeah.
wiped out instead of buying merchandise or something that might be marginal. I'd rather pay something we have to pay
Because
for.
it's 25,000 in that
We're gonna
Angela
address
Forrest and
just
the
these
state
part in
committee.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
mhm, 'cause
So
that-
moved on this part then, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner P. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes.
Ready for the next one? Okay. Item number 2 is restricted for public safety, which is the litigation fund, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to pull $47,975 out of that fund to reimburse all the work that we've done on the kitchen thus far, which is basically all the demolition we did. So we're going to put $37,082 back into 707, which is where we've been pulling those payments from so far. We're also going to put, for detention overtime, we're going to put $9,055, which is what we tracked for this project, to go back into that line item to help reimburse the jail overtime. And then, of course, the related benefits that go with that, Social Security, retirement, and Medicare.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Only other thing I wanted to mention was we're still having the open house March 10th. Of course, there'll be another public safety and another budget meeting by then, so I'll give you a lot more details by then, but just everybody just remember that in your calendar, March 10th.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Solandi, hello. You have 2 budget amendments. We will begin with the ones where you're moving some money from the lieutenants.
Okay, we're requesting the amendment to provide funding to complete the fiscal year for maintenance and repair of the building, maintenance and repair of equipment, and prisoners' clothing. Requesting out of that 110 item to move 22,000 from that, and from the Social Security 550, and state retirement 1,500 for a total of 2,450. And the reason this is available because we did not fill that position until much later into the fiscal year, so it's filled now, but we had that money to help us get to the end of the fiscal year for the maintenance and repair and then next clothing.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Sanders, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. And the next one, we have listed under Correctional Work Center, but it's really coming from the county mayor's budget.
It's 12,888 coming from the county mayor's budget, other charges to the workhouse budget, for other equipment, 12,888 for additional cameras.
Yes, the cameras we needed for the, most of the sanctions area for the work release housing area, and also there's a couple others we'll put in the facility, one in the property room, and I believe one is for the lobby area.
And the reason for the mayor there, because it's under other charges under that department right there. So moved, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin.
We gotta be creative in this time of need.
Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, from employee insurance for various departments, Mrs. Nolan?
And this is our yearly cleanup on the health insurance after all the employees have made their elections. This is a request to move $47,355 from the pooled account in the employee benefits category to the various departments: OIT, county buildings, juvenile detention, risk management, youth services, human resource, GIS, and planning.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sandlin.
Question, are these new employees or
These are new elections.
they
You know, it could be
changed?
Somebody who had single coverage and now they have family
Oh, okay,
coverage or
I mean, lots of
option
things.
two
That
and
was a
Option one.
whatever.
January
So that-
change.
For the health and
When do we
wellness and
officially
all
start
that.
calling insurance risk management? So there used to be, I go to the insurance committee meeting, now I'm going to risk management committee meeting. I don't remember when we officially changed that. Yeah.
Because it's much broader than just insurance, that's all the other things, the liabilities.
Sounds a lot more professional.
Keep up with,
They're more
this is
in
the
the risk
21st
management
century,
than
Will.
insurance.
Huh?
It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Gentlemen, staying in section 3, we have an industrial economic development fund budget amendment.
If you don't mind me reading this, Rutherford County authorized a loan to the Wary Housing for $1,279,297 for a term of 303 months at an interest rate of 10%. That's a great benefit for the county. With the first payment that was due in January of '94 and the last payment was due March of 2019. On January 31st, Wary Housing officials paid in full their principal amount owed to Rutherford County, which was $714,196. A portion of that note included legal fees to Cope Hudson, Reed McCrary's firm. This amendment also takes care of providing the appropriation for the legal fees. It also reduces the amount of interest earned that we had budgeted. It reduces the revenue since they pay that off and we won't be getting this interest for the rest of the year.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Jordan.
What?
Legal fees of $21,000.
That's what's left.
There was a balance to pay them in the beginning, which started, let's say, at 60,000, it had been paid down, and so, they get paid off as
Oh,
well as we
okay.
get paid off.
So they weren't still getting paid legal fee, it was just
I see.
They
income.
were getting a few
Okay.
$100s a month to pay, to amortize their
portion.
their portion that was put in the very beginning.
Thank you.
The only thing we've missed out on is they paid the principal off early.
Yes.
So therefore, the interest,
You're not gonna get it.
we're not gonna get.
Refinance.
Now, just,
But we were getting 10%
We
up
were
till
getting
now
10%.
anyway, so
Yeah,
we've
we
done
collected
real
all the
good there.
interest through that period, yes.
what that means is that, for this fund, we budgeted full-year interest, and that was almost $70,000 in interest that we would have budgeted this year for that note. So you're not gonna have revenue coming in anymore off this note for this fund. And this, out of this fund is what we use to pay Destination Rutherford Economic Regional Council.
We have $699,000
Development.
to deal with that now.
You have that principal amount now to
Right.
pay that.
Right.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Gentlemen, turn to section 4, and we have some budget amendments from Solid Waste Sanitation Fund.
This is similar to the other one. This is for the result of open enrollment. This is to correct the employees' health insurance benefits. Requesting $10,620 out of the assigned for public health to litter pickup, convenience centers, and landfill.
Assigned for public health.
Move to approve.
Approved.
116.
Second.
Yeah.
That was Commissioner Jernigan, seconded by Commissioner Schaefer.
Would that be also, could have just as easily been called if we'd have been allowed to on assigned fund balance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. This is no longer the second one.
The second one is $10,000 needed from the solid waste fund to go to, transfer to the self-insurance fund for the payment of liability claims for the solid waste department.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner P,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Gentlemen, Section 5, we have a highway fund budget amendment. See anyone here?
Okay, I'll do it. This is a request of $10,000 from their highway equipment to their unemployment compensation fund, their compensation line, due to increase in employees being terminated.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner
Second.
P, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. General purpose school fund budget amendments. Mr. Sandy? Good evening.
Good evening.
You have two amendments.
Yes, ma'am. My first amendment is classified staff. It reallocates $25,867 in already budgeted classified pay and benefits. The $9,860 amount in account 725119 covers moving our federal projects accounting clerk entirely back to the GPS school budget. She has been partially paid by Title I consolidated administration funds, but with the cuts in Title I allocation, this position needs to be moved back to the GPS budget. And the other amendments are adjustments based on actual staff in place this year and vacancies. No new funds are being used. The recommended motion is to amend $25,867 in already budgeted classified pay and benefits as presented.
If I hear no objection, we'll continue with the second one.
This is our special ed high-cost students. Most years have this. It amends an additional $202,148 in state funds. It's a federal flow-through to the state. And these funds reimburse the system for some of the costs we incur for our really high-cost special education students. By law, we have to budget these for special ed expenditures, and this amendment budgets them in staff and benefit lines that need to be increased because of these high-cost students. And this motion is to amend $202,148 in IDEA revenue for high-cost students and the related staff expenditures as presented.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Sandlin, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Sandy? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Terry? We have an agreement with the Tennessee Department of Health for the support of the Rutherford County Health Department, and this is our annual agreement for the local portion. Good evening.
Do you need me to explain more?
You might just go through the numbers just real quickly.
It is the same contract that we've had for several years
Okay.
running, and it is already, we are already paying.
It's
this,
already in the budget.
And it's already in your budget. It's just the final documentation for the study. The numbers are all the same.
And this is the first day of July 2011.
Yeah, they're just a little late.
Yeah.
But they typically are like that.
It
We
always
all-
happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
But we approve it ourselves.
Yeah.
Back then.
I think we
Motion
ought to approve it then.
Is that your motion?
Yes,
Commissioner
ma'am.
Sandlin?
Yes, ma'am.
And seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Should we have a roll call? Or it is money?
Yes,
Call the
ma'am.
roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes, thank you very much. A grant contract with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency for the 2011 Homeland Security Grant. Mr. Allen, good evening.
Good evening. This is the annual Homeland Security grant. It's 100% reimbursable. Normally it goes through public safety, then budget, then to the full commission. We received this after the public safety meeting, a couple of days after, I believe. I talked to Commissioner Farley, and he said go ahead and bring it up to budget instead of having to wait another month to start this, because the beginning date of this grant was 10/01/11, and we're way behind because of the state, so we didn't want to add more time to that. So that's where I'm asking for this to go forward, for the mayor to have the authority to sign it and to put the money in the budget.
Motion approved.
Second.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Discussion?
I would say it's good to have Mr. Allen back with us. It's been out for a while.
Thank you.
Good to
Yes,
see
sir.
you back.
Yes, sir.
I'm still recovering, but I'm on track.
Any further discussion relative to his motion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you. We have a request from the county fire chief for permission to submit a grant application, the Safer Grant Program. Mr. Farley.
This also come open shortly after the public safety meeting, and Commissioner Farley told me to go ahead and bring it forward to y'all. We want to apply for a Safer grant, which will allow for us to 100% funding. We're going to request 4 firefighters. This will be 100% funding for 2 years. And then after that 2 years, the county will not be obligated to continue that funding. You can either continue to fund it or you can terminate it. But this will give us 4 firefighters. That'll give us at least one person at the new station 24/7.
Takes 4 positions to fund one person round the clock, 24/7.
Well, I would hope if this is funded, we'd be able to find the money in a couple of years to continue this. I would also hope you would hire those people with the knowledge to them that this is a grant-funded position that could possibly go away.
Well,
You know.
if we are blessed to get the money and we are able to hire these firefighters, we would tell them up front, this is a 2-year temporary thing. There's no guarantee that you'd be continuing after that 2 years. It'd be depending on a lot of things, the economy, with the commission voting on that improvement.
Could this not be a continuing volunteer fighter now that has all the certification and everything? And I mean, they could be an applicant to these.
Oh, yes, well, we would definitely hire for the county. And through the whole process of the county fire department, we're continuing to certify all of our firefighters through state certification.
So it could be 4 of those folks.
Oh, yes, it most definitely would be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in favor of this. I actually spoke to Chief Farley about this some. I do have a question though, and to follow up on what he was asking. Will these jobs be open to all the volunteers that are in the county, or just the group that are in the Rutherford's?
Well, we'd open up to the one who's most qualified in our county firefighters.
It'll be an open.
The job will be
posting
posting,
of this position. It'll be
so
posted.
say somebody from Las Casas or Kissville or Walker Hill or wherever they might be possible could get the job. Okay.
But it could be a firefighter from Nashville or a firefighter from Murfreesboro
Well,
or
you can't
Smyrna.
discriminate.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, what I would prefer to do is the ones who are out there volunteering right now, who are committing their time and getting this training, and getting their certifications, who's already serving Rutherford County, I would give them preference over somebody else out of the county if they've got those qualifications.
Yeah.
I think as many great volunteer firefighters as we have, we'll certainly be able to have
We have
more than 4 that we can choose.
We have about 315 volunteer firefighters across this county. So I would hope we could pick out.
It may be a year before we find out about this, so.
How many of those are certified? to this qualification, what you're looking for?
Well, it'd be at least be a firefighter one with hazmat operations on their belt, and that number's growing more every day. We have another certification thing coming up the 18th where they do their hands-on practical testing and then do the written test. But since we've started this process, I know at least 50 to 75 guys that's already got their certification.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I jumped right in between you saying something.
I'm just saying,
Apologize.
we'll know, it may take us a year to find out, and then you'll have an opportunity to decide officially if you want to accept the grant, if we are awarded the grant.
We won't know anything about this till 13, and then that process will go from 13 to 15. 2015, it would terminate, so then you'd have be left up y'all where you want to continue.
Is this state money or federal?
Federal.
Okay, that sounds more, yeah.
And also, we want to request to write a grant for a recruitment and retention coordinator. That position would be 100% for 4 years, and adding that under that also part of that grant the ability to be able to buy disability insurance for all of our volunteer firefighters. So in other words, we cover insurance on them now and workers' comp if they get hurt, pay their medical bills. All the other volunteer fire departments have insurance and disability and all that, but our county firefighters don't. And this would be to be able to provide them with disability insurance if they do get hurt and are permanently disabled, then this would cover them.
I want to make a motion to approve this.
Commissioner P., seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Farley? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, staying in section 9 of your notebooks, we have an approval form that is a report on our debt obligation, and this is a new form that the Finance Office has to complete, and this is dealing with our most recent bond issue, and it is required of us to submit this to the governing body, so we will need to present this next Thursday to the county commission and have it presented at a public meeting. There is no motion necessary and no vote. This is just really a report.
Yes.
Anything else you need to add, Mrs. Noel?
Well, this form we've used for years to report any time that the county had incurred debt. It used to be just a two pages that we would send in to the comptroller's office. They revised it, and we have to use this new form effective anybody issuing anything after January, which is now 4 pages and includes essay questions now. And so we've addressed these with attachments. Some of the things that I would just like to point out to you on this issue. The good news, if you look in box 11 on this first page, is the interest rate that we got off this last bond deal. 2.42. That's a hoo-ha.
In box 5.
Box 5.
Is that what?
Okay, box 5 was our bond. The amount you had authorized was 70. I think it was 21 million for 21 million for the refunding that note, and 50,725,000 for all that we talked about. Okay, we received a premium of 4,556,000. Okay, so let me just explain what happened. I mean, with this deal and the 242 is, you know, that when we were talking about what we were going to borrow, I included we included only half the road. Well, because of this premium, we were able to fund the entire road. Also with the rate, this is what I gave you. The number that we were using this is the after sale. The one before it, we were even talking about refunding and doing this now. We were using about a 3.5% estimate. And so the projection, this is principal and interest, estimating about $100.7 million with those parameters, and that was only half the road in there. Only half the road and 3.5%. So on this top one, that gives you, this is what the actual debt service is for that, for the refunding and the additional new money. So it's about a $7 million difference.
So, I mean, better than Miss Stinson. She only paid us $600,000.
Look at the gold star. Well, that's what I was alluding to, you know, because we were looking at 72, somewhere in there.
So it was 69, at 69.
And we said, what did we say at full commission? What was our top?
Let's see, we had 20, 21 and 5750. Okay, so 71,750,000 is what you authorized.
Okay, maybe that's what I had in my head then, 72. Total, out the door kind of thing. And so with our discount and then putting the whole road back in, plus, you did good.
Well,
We did good. Mayor did good.
Well, I think we should give credit to Ms. Nolan and Mr. Sam Cruz for their strategic vision and exactly the right time to issue these bonds.
The premium discount, explain exactly what that is. I mean, I understand it's right off the top that we're not paying that, but did we get that because of the way we're doing our finances, or they just like the way you smiled at them that day, or what?
It's because of the rates.
The rates.
People don't like to borrow money and think they're getting only 3%, so they're willing to pay higher rates of interest and give you some cash up front.
Makes the bonds more marketable.
Yeah, that's what it's really.
Because instead of somebody taking a 2.42% 20-year bond, they're getting a 3.1 or 4%.
Bond, and they paid money up front to get that 4%.
But they're paying a premium to get it.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
the $100 bonds cost them $107 or $8,
There you
so
go.
they're paying
Something like
well above par, but it's all a numbers game.
But this is, on that particular day, Fairfax County, Virginia issued $200 million at 2.43%, and they were AAA. So we even beat them.
Yeah.
And since then.
Not that it's a competition or anything. Want to
So
beat
we've
everybody.
set the bar. Stevens Group cannot remember 20-year bonds issued at this rate since they've been down there.
Wow.
Nobody's beat that out in the last few weeks since then.
And then Knox County just sold bonds. We got a little email today. They sold $35 million. And at a true interest cost of 2.64. So in 30 days, it's gone up. So in other words, if we had, that's $2 million more in debt service if we'd sold at 2.64. So they did a remarkable job with that, and we just got some tremendously talented staff here.
Pull out the gold stars and start
I tell
stepping
you
them
what,
on there. So.
you know, you get your money's worth out of Stevens, I will tell you that. If you don't, just indulge me. On the third page, we were estimating, I think $505,000 on, underwriter's discount and fee. And so our underwriter's discount was $323, but all fees together was $505,000. The other interesting,
I got 503.
well, that's that.
Oh.
The underwriter's discount is in the middle.
No, but you said 505.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
it's-
but initial estimates that we were working on
Oh, okay,
was
I got you.
$505,000. Under Exhibit A, that's your coupons. You can see those coupons. And our debt service schedule. This is pretty much reflective of what I put over in the long sheets. If you go to Exhibit C, under the end box, total debt outstanding, we're scheduled to pay at the end of 10 years, 64.8% of our principal balance is off.
If we borrow no
More.
Right.
Yeah.
This is our schedule now, scheduled to pay 64% of our principal balance off.
No more
That's good.
schools. No more schools.
No more schools. Yeah. Anyway, those
That could
are
be a
the key
problem.
points that I want to bring to your attention. And this whole document that the comptroller has done is an effort to make sure that commissioners are aware of all the particulars of the bond deal. So, it's not necessarily that you have to approve it, because it is what it is, and we'll be just presenting it to the commission next week.
Okay, gentlemen, staying in section 9, a direct deposit policy. Mrs. Nolan is going to present this to us tonight. We're not asking for a motion or a vote. She's going to ask us to think about this and be ready to consider it as a motion and as a vote next month.
When you say employees, or what about the elected officials like us?
We'd like to,
Okay. I assumed it would be.
And this will give the school board time to deal with this also.
Kind of talk to it and present it to them too.
What percentage of employees do direct deposit now?
There are the vast majority of them are direct deposit. I have about 175 in the county general, and I think Jeff has about 500. Now, in the past, you know, I think one of the reasons why we didn't push it to be mandatory is because, you know, we'd have feedback that there are just some employees that can't get bank accounts. Well, our payroll account is with SunTrust Bank, and SunTrust brought forward an opportunity that will not cost the county anything, and it provides for a pay card. So instead of giving an employee a check, we'll be issuing them a pay card, which behind the pay card is a bank account, so that when we can direct deposit that money to the pay card, and then that employee who may not have a bank account now has a bank account. The benefit to the employee is, I think what Jeff said, and I think we do to most of ours in the solid waste, is that we mail the checks. We mail their payroll checks. Isn't that right, Jeff? You mail your payroll checks, cashable checks, they mail. With the pay cards, they'll be just like direct deposit folks, and they will have their money already in the bank on their card, ready to use on payday.
Save on handling and postage and labor,
save
and
on
then
postage.
also security-wise, it's sitting out there in their mailbox.
Exactly.
You know.
And if they're on vacation, their money's there. Okay, and working with this, I was under the impression that there were some employees that just can't get bank accounts. One of our employees spoke with Mark King at Community Care, and they told us that they require every one of their people to get direct deposit, that they work with 2 credit unions, and Rutherford County employees and the school employees can join Ascend. There's already a relationship established, they can join them, and Ascend does not charge anything to open an account other than $5, and it's the employees' $5 in their account. They just have to maintain $5 in a savings account. So that is one option. I mean, that's what they do at Community Care. They're working with the credit unions. This is a third option now for our employees.
So you're saying the employee's check goes straight to the bank?
Yes. They have their card. So instead of an employee having a piece of paper, they'll have a
So
card.
if the employee gets paid on whatever day, and he's wanting his cash money, then he's gotta go to the bank to get the cash.
Just like he would if he had that check.
Had to
It'd have
cash
to
that check
go-
somewhere.
He's got
He won't have to wait for the mail to deliver his check. His card will be in his hand already, and he just goes.
Go to an ATM probably and get,
He can
and get
go-
the cash
yeah.
anytime, day or night.
With this, it's through NetSpend, Sky Financial. It is a card, this is what it kind of looks like. It's got a Visa card, it's got a Visa logo on it. It looks like a debit card, and they can use it instead of going and getting all
But
their
that's only
cash
for the
out.
ones that don't have a bank account.
The ones that can't get a bank account.
But if they have a bank account, they can
Well,
send
do
any
they?
bank in the world.
Right.
Corporate America, a whole lot of places require it for everybody, did it not?
Yes.
We did it for the employees, we're all doing it for
Well, I think
the
it's-
elected officials at the same time.
Yeah, I think it is a great benefit for those employees for some reason can't.
Our cost, there's no cost to
There's no
us.
cost for us, other than shipping and handling on these little packets. That's
Well,
all.
we should have reduced costs for not having to mail out individual checks, is that not correct? I mean, it's 500 now, 170 something, so.
Well, right now, don't you mail the elected officials checks?
We do, and see, I'd want y'all to go to this too.
They gotta withdraw.
So what we're proposing is, effective April 1, after y'all consider this and we do all this next month, is that all new employees automatically direct deposit. You know, we'll have this option for those that can't. And then to give us a year to get everybody who's not on direct deposit now, to get them moved over. Now, I want to share that, when we met with SunTrust and these representatives, I pulled one employee that still got a paper check and asked him to attend our meeting. And some guy from, one of the guys from the workhouse. And he said, all right. Because I want his, you know, why do you have it? What are your issues? What do you think about it? He said, you know, it's just the one little thing. Everything else in my life is technology except this.
I know one guy said likes to get his check because his wife gets the bank account. And you know,
That's all he has, that's right. I was gonna say, that's the one I use.
He's got the card. Okay.
She can't do it.
That's right. So, anyway.
Oh, so the bank doesn't recognize my signature.
Yogi Berra said cash is just like cash money with Aflac, right?
Mr. Come on up and join us.
Yeah, Jeff was at the meeting too. But anyway, that employee now, I talked to him today and he said he signed up for direct deposit.
And Mr. Sandick, you wanted to make a point.
Lisa, I think you and I met a couple of years, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, with a vendor on this. In my days before here, we met with a vendor, and this is the first proposal we've seen that really, unless you lose your card and have to get a replacement card, the employee can avoid any fees for this account.
Yeah.
Which was,
Yeah.
even the last one we looked at, it still would have cost the employee something each month.
Now, this, if the employee goes in, I mean, he can use it like a debit card. He can go inside and get all of his money out and it not cost him anything. Or if he wants to use an ATM on the outside, it's gonna cost $1.75. $1.75, but
Well, there's also a network that does not charge any ATM charge on these cards. So it really was a good option for those employees who don't want to use that.
I just thought it was, for me, for the employee side, I think it's a good product for them.
And the federal government with like Social Security, they're going there, aren't there? There's a deadline coming up. Some like my mother's fuss about not to have her, likes her check, but it's, but I think that deadline's coming up. We got to be direct deposit. 100% of the Social Security.
So anyway, I just wanted to put it out there, let y'all mull it over.
So we'll discuss it, it'll be on our agenda for next month.
So in 2 years, we're all gonna get a 666 on our forehead or
No.
something.
Gentlemen, is there anything else that needs to come before our committee, Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes, ma'am. This Saturday at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Gamble Lane, right off the old highway in Laverne, is the Laverne Rescue Squad's ham breakfast. Best ham that you can get this weekend. Next weekend it'll be in Kittrell.
Anything else that needs to come before our committee? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.